Hello, and this is a pre-intro intro. Um, so this week's episode, it took an interesting turn. My editing software sort of kicked me out. It just stopped letting me edit. Um, so on this episode, you're actually going to get a partially edited episode, just because that's kind of the way it is. This is after spending about, we're going on about 3.5 hours for a 20-minute podcast. So I do thank you guys for sticking with me. I'm looking at other software and other ways of editing. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. So with that, on with the show. Hello and welcome to True North EV. My name is James and we are here today to talk about the winter tires I got on the Kona. So I went off the recommendation that the dealership gave me. One was the Uniroyal Tiger Paw Ice and Snow 3. So it is studdable. And the other one, I believe that they gave me a recommendation on, was a BFG, so BF Goodrich tire. I decided to go with the Tiger Paw ones. So after about a week of them, I've driven in the city and out on the highway. There's definitely the pros and cons to it, and looking at the reviews, it's kind of the same that everybody has seen or has experienced. So with the tires, I find them really great. In the city, you got the normal kind of packed snow, packed ice, whatever. You can't always have the great snow and the great ice, right? So I'm finding they're good on ice, like the packed at the stop signs and all that, where stop signs, lights, where it's kind of packed into an ice. It's good. It's not great. But I found the Kona was never great at the lights. It's very much wanting to go, right, and spin the tires and all that. And that's even with the factory tires, right? There also was issues with the tire. I got them done at the dealership. I don't care for their service with, just because when I purchased the vehicle, I got the tire warranty package with it for, I believe I got another 4 years left on it, approximately. I believe it's 2025 that warranty runs out. But it covers all the tires. So I had one nail in one of the rear tires. It was too close to the sidewall, so it got replaced. But it got replaced for free. But I did buy an extra tire for the other side, just because the tread was about 50% left. So to not have that uneven wear, I just purchased an extra tire and made that tire with the 50% tread that was still good. That is now a spare tire that I have. So these tires, this winter tire package that I did receive, I got from the dealership. And I got it filled, so I got just your plain steel rims. I did have the tire pressure monitoring system installed, and I got nitrogen filled. They should know all these little quirks and all that, the different tire pressures. They should be looking for that. So the Kona has the tire pressure setting for the vehicle is 36 psi that it wants. The dealership they say 31. When it came up on my vehicle, it was at 28 pounds. So I had a low tire pressure light on it. They quickly blamed that on being inside the shop, that they apparently filled it to the right pressure inside the shop, and because the shop was warm, it somehow magically changed when it went out into the cold, which is is the reason why you go with nitrogen, is that it doesn't have those massive swings like air might. So I called them out on that. There was never an apology though, so there's always that issue, right? It was an excuse after an excuse as to why it's not their fault. I eventually got them to refill it to the correct pressure, and I haven't had an issue since. So that was Monday, so we're now a week that it's been good. The other issue was they filled it with nitrogen, but they didn't put the green caps on it or any sort of cap that says there is nitrogen in the system. Which, if I always took it back to the same dealership, maybe it doesn't matter. But if I say I'm on a road trip or going to a different tire place or a different dealership and they had to take the tire off, there's no actual way of them knowing that there's nitrogen in it. Also, with what you're paying for tires, rims, all that, just put the caps in. Where they were trying to tell me that I had to pay $25 for these caps that should have just been included. I eventually just got them from them, but it's still all these little things that keep adding up to issues that they don't want to correct. And I guess the owner doesn't see it as an issue either. But overall, tire is good. I've noticed a few complaints on online about them. Is the pros and cons I'm seeing online. Most of them are about them being a little weak, but we'll see. I haven't seen any reviews with it on an electric vehicle, so we'll see how it holds up with that extra torque and that extra weight of the Kona on it. Just because it is meant for apparently smaller SUV or smaller crossovers and vans and whatnot like that. So we'll see how it handles it. Some reviews were saying they were replacing them every year. So at least I have that tire warranty. We'll see if we have to use that with these. So I wasn't as worried about it because of that warranty. So we do have that. We also don't have much of a winter right now. We've had a couple cold days, but yesterday the temperature was actually above freezing even, so snow actually started melting here. So once we get more snow and an actual winter, we might have a whole different view on these tires. When we went and got these tires done also, my wife actually was the one that took it in to get that done, and the wording they gave her was it was a recall they were performing. When I looked into it further, because on the sheets they gave us, there was nothing about a recall being done, or all the sheets just had essentially about the tires, what they've done and all that. So when I looked into it further, they told me it was a TSB performed. So technical service bulletin. So, and this was, they gave me the whole number for it, but in my searching on different sites that actually do list out what the TSB is and all that, I can't even find it. So I don't know if she didn't give me the correct number or something was off. I'll have to look into that further. But what she did tell me though is it was for the battery management system. was what this, I guess a software update, it sounds like, was performed on it. So this is probably number 5 or 6 for that. So we'll see if anything actually changes, which I guess the only big change is going to be once they actually replace the battery, which I have heard from a salesperson that they have actually, the place I have to go actually has received a couple batteries and has switched it over. Now with the battery recall, they are doing those that have bricked first. So those that might have a newer vehicle, but for whatever reason the battery has just completely failed, so it is unusable. Those get moved to the front of the line, and those get done first. Makes sense. My vehicle I can still drive, still use. And then after they get those done, then they move to when it was purchased. So going from the oldest ones to the newest, which I'm pretty close to, I guess, the front of the line for being the oldest. I believe they came out in March of 2019 and I received mine in in September of 2019. And they didn't sell a whole lot. I think I was one of the first 5, if that. Maybe even first 3 or so. But so I should be receiving it. They have all their tools and all that. I believe I said in the last podcast that Winnipeg Hyundai is, or at the time was still waiting for some of their tools that they need to actually replace the batteries. So I need to confirm with them again, see if they have received all their stuff and are able to actually perform this recall. So I think that's pretty much all that we have for that. I did help my brother-in-law. He moved outside the city. In the process of moving him out of the city, I don't know if on that day the temperature was just it was just cold enough, or I had a few errands to do before going out. It's where he's living is approximately 60-70 kilometers away from us now. But I did have a few errands to do, so it probably went up to about 90 to 100 kilometers I drove that day, or that one way. With only being able to charge up to 100%, or not, with only being able to charge up to 80%, I actually used 40% to get down there, and then I actually used I plugged in actually there. They actually had kind of across from his place there's a Tim Hortons, and they have actually a Sun Country Highway charger there. So I was able to plug in for a little bit before I left, and so I used actually another 40% on the way back, and then I plugged in at the dealership because I went to talk to them about all the tire issues, and then I went home. We did go back to his place on Saturday with the temperature being a little warmer out. Instead of doing a little over the speed limit, the highways were nice and dry and all that, so I actually set the cruise control right at 100 kilometers an hour. With doing that, we only used actually 20%. So we got there with about 60%. I again plugged in down there, just to kind of start fresh and figure out what the range loss is, with one being kind of a headwind and one being a tailwind. So it was about 20% each way is what we use. So a lot better, but it was also warmer on Saturday. So I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes with the winter tires. Maybe being better, not gripping as much. I'm not totally sure. I would have to do a lot more trips to kind of figure out if I just, for whatever reason, with the roads being the way it was on Friday with not using cruise control, if it made that big of a difference that I didn't realize, which is a possibility. So we have that. We will be doing a few more longish distance, not really long distance, a lot longer than we normally do in the winter. Normally in the winter we mostly stick to the city, maybe a few trips like 10-20 kilometers out, but nothing as frequently as we'll probably be doing now. So we'll get a real feel for these tires, I think. Maybe. We'll see how they go. And we'll see if I can actually, when we get a new battery, how much that of a difference that might make with being 100% charged. While at the dealership for all these issues, I did actually have a nice chat with a few salespeople there. One being one that I worked actually with for quite a few years. So I had conversations about kind of what was going on with essentially the tires and all that. And he actually informed me that with doing all these winter tires, they usually will set kind of to the lowest and then work their way, so lowest pressure, and then you just top it up once you put it on the vehicle. So maybe that's their reasoning for doing that. But again, we don't know. So we'll see how this goes. I think that's pretty much it. It's been a kind of uneventful past couple of weeks, other than all the tire issues. I have been plugging the vehicle in almost every day, just because I got it set for the Monday to Friday automatically. Before we get going for the day, it automatically is set to turn the vehicle on, essentially warm up the interior while it's all plugged in, which I actually, last winter and the winter before, I didn't think it was all that great. Maybe it's me getting older. I really enjoy that. I find it way more convenient. So it is going to be something I probably do a lot more this year. We'll see if I drop it down from 80% down to a lower charge status. But as of right now, we'll just keep it at 80%. So I'm going to wrap it up for now, because I feel like I'm just kind of just talking for the sake of talking. So if you guys do want to reach out to me, you could find me. You can email me at truenorthev@gmail.com or truenorthevpodcast@gmail.com. You could leave me a voice message on Anchor at anchor.fm/truenorthev/message. You can find me on Twitter at EV_North, or on Facebook at True North EV. So yeah, and I do have a YouTube link. Haven't really been doing a whole lot on that. So I do thank you guys so much for your time, and as always, go check out Kilowatt and EV Resources. They're doing a lot more of the new stuff, a lot more smarter stuff than I deal with. EV Resource also just recently came out with their newest issue of the EV Resources magazine. So feel free to go check them out and look at the copy. I have it. I printed it off. It's still sitting on my printer. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. So thanks for listening, and have yourselves a great day. Bye.